Welcome to the Core Outdoors Speaker Series. I'm your host, adventure journalist Jamie Moy. Core Outdoors is a collective of gear designers, makers, repair technicians, and manufacturers based in the mountainous Kootenay region of British Columbia, Canada. Core produces this free webinar every month to share knowledge and build relationships. Today I'm joined by Daniel Raab, the program manager at ReSurf. ReSurf is Canada's first large-scale surf gear repair and recycling program. He's joining us today from ReSurf's headquarters on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. This is going to be great.
We're very excited. And before I have you start, I just want to mention that questions are welcome and encouraged. Everyone should have access to the Q&A, so you can type in a question and then I can pose it to Daniel as we go. Otherwise, if you want to hold your question until the end, we'll make sure we leave time for that and a little bit of conversation. All right, Daniel, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Yeah, I threw together a presentation to talk about resurf here. I think everyone can see my screen. Before we get into it, just so everyone knows, that photo on the right-hand side, that's our opening party that we had last year. Our facility is based in Ucluelet, and there's a bunch more photos to come here, but I just want to let everyone know that's sort of the space we're working with here in Yuki. So I'm going to first briefly talk about our story and kind of where we came from and where we are now. Uh, my name is Daniel Raab. Obviously, as Jamie stated already, I'm the program manager here at ReSurf. Uh, so ReSurf essentially is a somewhat new program of Surfrider Canada. So ReSurf was introduced and our doors opened officially on May 14th, 2025. So next month is our official 1 year anniversary. Uh, it all started with the Plastic Action Fund, which is a grant stream that we acquired in September of 2024. So the Plastic Action Fund was essentially the grant that allowed us to begin our operations. The budget allowed us to find a facility, restore a facility, and kick up our operations for a 2 year window. So we're about, yeah, one third, two-thirds the way through that grant now. And all thanks to Action Fund, we are where we are today. Uh, ReSurf is also located in Ucluelet, which is a very high traffic location for surfers, obviously about 20 minutes away from Tofino. So it's all very centralized in Ucluelet, and we're able to sequester a lot of surf industry waste from this location here. And yeah, like Jamie said, in one sentence, ReSurf is a surf industry waste diversion program, and we're working to repair and recycle all of the neoprene and EPS surfboard waste here on the West Coast and expanding beyond. Uh, so I will go into what our building looked like. So this is sort of a backstory I wanted to include because it took us about 7 months to get where we are today with our build. So as you see on the screen here, that's what the facility looked like when we first got our lease started. The building was riddled with code violations. It had a lot of problems. It had leaks. It was definitely in a state that we didn't want to begin operations out of. So we had to really retrofit it and get it to a space where we're comfortable with. The benefits of the facility is it's central, located in Ucluelet. It has a Sierra 1 zoning, which allows it to be light industrial, so we can have industrial operations in Ucluelet here at this facility. It's very, very hard to find an industrial space in Yuki, so we were very grateful. We saw good structure and good bones with this property, so we went with it. And these photos are sort of showing the process in the beginning of what the restoration looked like. So we essentially gutted everything to bare bones. We wanted to get all our codes compliant with the District of Ucluelet. We wanted to open as soon as possible. So we sort of gutted it to a shell, took the second floor out. We did simple flooring, walls, ventilation, insulation. We hired a whole mix of local tradespeople to come down and help us out. And it was definitely a long haul, but it was very much worth it because we are now growing into this space, the space here behind me. And this is what it looks like now. So, like I said, the renovation lasted about 6 months. We hit the ground running. We opened our doors, like I said, on May 14th, and we are now almost 1 year in. We are the first program like this in Canada that we've found that's been able to be a one-stop shop for this surf industry, these two waste items. and we were growing very, very quickly. And there's been a lot of firsts, a lot of learning curves, a whole lot of research and development for this program to get to where we are today. And we are now seeing our achievements and our goals being accomplished in real time, which is very exciting. And I'll talk about that later on. And here's why we exist. Surf gear is a very minimal end of life solution here in Canada. The circular economy only really works when there is infrastructure that exists. And we found that with these two waste items, there wasn't really an infrastructure that was present in Canada. Um, the goals were to have a greener surf industry in Canada with ReSurf being created, and that's sort of what we're trying to do with our trajectory. In terms of wetsuits and EPS surfboards, they're both petroleum based and they're both non-biodegradable. So they almost always end up in landfills across Canada. And they create a large waste issue for surf towns like Tofino and Ucluelet. Going to the West Coast landfill here, you'd see stockpiles of these things. And it's definitely something we wanted to avoid and find solutions for. In my experience, we'd go to local surf shops in town, and there'd be stockpiles of these items behind the shops because one, there is so much of an excess of these items, and two, the owners of these shops, they didn't want to spend the money and the efforts of taking all this waste to landfill because it was so substantial. We're talking like our first couple days open, we acquired probably 500 wetsuits and about 50 surfboards in like 2, 3 days, the first couple days we opened. And that's just, it goes to show how many people were excited to offload these items that they had. Um, and yeah, to tie that all together, it now exists to both close that waste gap we see in this Canadian surf industry. And we're working to make surfing a greener and more efficient and sustainable sport here across Canada, starting in Ucluelet. So I'm going to break down sort of the things that we do. We have three different tiers of the ReSurf program. We have the EPS surfboard recycling program. We have neoprene recycling and upcycling, and we have, of course, wetsuit repair. Starting off with EPS. So EPS stands for expanded polystyrene, and that's the makeup of a lot of the soft tops boards you see out in the West Coast and across the surfing industry in general. They're very popular. Boards like NSP and Wavestorm are sort of the only boards that these surf shops carry. They're 8, 9 feet. They're very thick. They're very heavy, and they only last a year or two. So what we do is we collect these EPS surfboards at our facility. They have to be clean, they have to be dry. Those are the only two clauses that we need people to adhere to when they drop off boards. What we do is very simple. We strip the board down to its bare EPS inside. So we have an HDPE plastic top layer that gets pulled off. It's all glued together, so it takes about 10 minutes. Pulled off, that's stuck in a bin, that can get recycled. And then the EPS foam, we have to cut these wood stringers out of the bottom. That gets put into another bin. That also gets recycled. The only thing that we cannot recycle is the wood, which is all glued up and that has to go to trash. So we typically say we can recycle about 85 to 90% of an EPS soft top. Um, we are still working on end of life large scale solutions for this product, but we do have direction that we do send this to get recycled with Ocean Legacy on a very minimal amount right now. But hopefully in the next 12 months, we'll be able to create these more industrialized pathways where we can get these products pelletized and ground down and blended into new plastics. So that's sort of a goal over the next 12 months with EPS. The only tricky part, of course, we're working with is EPS is very, very expanded. It's filled with a lot of air. So if you have a 9 foot EPS blank, I think you can probably see a couple behind me. There's a few in that corner there. They're 90 to 1 in terms of their compression rate, which means that there's 90% air on average in these boards. So you have to acquire a whole lot of EPS in order it to be effective for recycling, which we are still working on the infrastructure to adhere to that. So it's definitely a tricky situation, but we are working very hard to find solutions so we can start to really, on a large scale, collect and recycle these more frequently. What we are putting a lot of our efforts onto is our neoprene recycling and upcycling division. So we right now how it works with ReSurf is you can either drop off your wetsuit at our facility here in Ucluelet, or we have about 22 collection locations across BC, mostly coastal BC on the island right now. What that means is you can bring your suit by, drop it off with our collection partner. When their bins are filled, they contact us. We send either a Surfrider volunteer or one of our staff to go pick that bin up. We take it back to our facility, and we were able to start the process of breaking these materials down. So, a wetsuit that we get at our facility gets put into three different categories: second life repairs, upcycled wetsuits, or recycled wetsuits. For second life repairs, a high percentage of the suits that we get are still in fantastic condition. So we set those aside for our technicians to repair for us to resell at our facility for a discounted rate. Most of our wetsuits are under $200, so it just creates a more affordable option for people that want to come buy a suit that is secondhand. The suits do have to be on average about 2 hours or less in repair time for it to make sense for us to repair them, but we do have a substantial amount that we are continually repairing to put on that rack to give it a second life. Also, there's the upcycled suit division, which means suits that are in good condition but a little bit too difficult to repair. We keep those panels because we use those panels for our repairs sometimes, depending on the type of suit we repair. So they do have a second life in a way. And then third, which is a very popular section, is the recycling component. So we get these mounds and mounds of surfing wetsuits. We end up collecting them. We start by sorting them, cutting the panels out. The second photo there, you see a bin of hardware. So we have to cut the metal and plastic zippers, hardware, buckles, hood straps out of these wetsuits. Those can actually get sorted and recycled in Vancouver. So then we're left with the neoprene paneling. These panels are cut down into pieces about 6, 7 inches long. Those can get thrown into our granulator to get grinded into the photo you see on the very far right. We have this big old tire granulator that we've retrofitted to work with neoprene. Once they're grounded down, we fit them in the super sacks, and then they're prepped for this next process. Uh, the shredding and the recycling of neoprene is still very experimental to us. We still doing a lot of research to find, like I said, with the EPS, very large scale models to be able to efficiently do a full circular recycle program with this material. So as of right now, we're doing a lot of testing with different program partners over in Vancouver and beyond on ways of manipulating or recycling this material on a large scale. So things like heat and strength testing, pellet processing possibilities, molding and matte pressing capabilities, and blending and additives. And what blending means is essentially just blending the product in with another plastic to make a new plastic material. So there's a lot of different processes that we're trying to achieve. The one that we're very, very interested in is finding a solution in terms of creating a 3D printer pellet. So pelletizing the neoprene, which is hopefully something that we can achieve with our researchers over the next 6 months. So that's sort of another R&D element of the program that we're working with. I'm going to talk next about the repair division, which is definitely our most exciting and most busy division of the program. So we get a massive influx of repair needs from a lot of different streams. And the first stream is community repairs. So we do have a shop space, the one that I'm inside, that we're open to the public 3 days a week. We're going to expand that to 5 days a week this summer. And you can drop your suit off. We will give you a quote on a repair, and we can repair them at the shop in about a week or less. We also can do a mail-in program. So you can mail your suit in from across the country. Same thing. You fill out a form online on our website. The suit comes in, our technicians can repair it and mail it back to you. And also, we do something called batch repairs. So surf schools will deliver large quantities of wetsuits. We used to do 50 at a time. We scaled that down to 15 at a time. So a surf school can bring us 15 rental suits at a time, and we do a batch repair. We quote them all at the same. We quote those all together, and then we repair those for the surf schools. Um, like I mentioned before, we also have the second life repair division. So 2 hours of repair time or less on average. The technicians will fix those. We stick them on a rack, and we do sell those in store as well. And finally, something that we've just started in January is our repair division. So with a couple different companies now, ReSurf is industry certified for warranty repairs, which is very exciting. So we do have contracts with Excel, Billabong, Minera, and Visla, and we are working on a few other contracts in the next couple weeks to months. So it's a very exciting new possibility for ReSurf to establish a warranty third-party service for these brands. Um, a lot of surf companies have warranties, and for those of you on the call that don't know, a warranty is typically a year to 2 years to get your wetsuit repaired. And up until we were existing, 99% of these companies would send warranty repairs in Canada to California, to where the headquarters of the manufacturing facilities were for these brands. So we decided to be a better and more sustainable approach for us to create a third-party service here in Canada. So all those warranty suits for those brands stay within the country. And a lot of the brands are very excited because it not only saves the brands money, it saves the customer time, and the rollover is so much more quicker. It's just a more efficient approach to the warranty practice. So same kind of style. The company reaches out to us. Oh, you got a hand up, Jamie.
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but because it's just I got really excited and wanted to know how many people are we talking about who are doing the repairs
We have a team of three full-time technicians right now only. So we're
for
still
all that
very
work?
So we're
Wow.
still we're still very, very small. We're obviously growing very quickly, but like I said, we're only 11 months in. So we are sort of trying to maximize what we can do. And we're getting a lot of interest. We have so much rubber coming through our doors. So it's a matter of just adjusting with hiring slowly as we go. And of course, we're grant funded and there's a lot of expenses right now. So we are slowly growing it step by step. We will have more and more and more as we grow, but yeah, it's still a small team for sure. Um, to finish up with the warranty division, it's essentially as simple as the company reaches out to us. We will give the thumbs up if we can fix it. The suit is sent to us by mail or dropped off, depending on where the warranted customer is. We take the suit in. We have a lot of stockpiled warranty material. So brands like Excel, for example, have given us hardware and material to fix their suits to their standard. So we do have a lot of on-site material that we can fix to almost exactly match the suit. And we have five industrial machines, a variation of blind stitch and straight stitch machines that are industry approved as well that we have in our shop. You can probably see in the corner, we have like three different tables of machines, and those are pretty much the same machines that the factories use to manufacture the suits. So the warranty division is definitely picking up very quickly, and we're excited because it's a niche in the market that we're hopefully going to be able to help out with these surf brands and get people their suits back quicker so they can get back in the water, you know? I did put some metrics together for our statistics on collection and repair. So we started collecting data September of 2025. So for about 4 months, we were so overwhelmed with the amount of stuff going on, we didn't collect data. So we started in September. So from September to April, we've been able to recycle 540 suits. Second life wetsuits, which are suits to be repaired, we have about 400, and upcycled suits about 170. So that totals 1,100 wetsuits in so about 7, 8 months of collection time. We've actually just probably added about 300 since April, so I have to update those numbers. And since January, we've developed more collection locations, and we have developed collection with MEC now in Vancouver and Nanaimo. So we're getting an overwhelming amount of material from Vancouver now as well, which is very exciting for us. So yeah, in terms of the weight, in 8, 9 months, we've been able to divert nearly 7,500 pounds from our landfills of these wetsuits that were historically going to the landfill. So it's a pretty big win for us. We're very excited, and we're hoping to double that number in 2026. Uh, and then in terms of our repair program, since September as well. We've done 135 community repairs. So those are people local to Tofino and Ucluelet that come by, drop their suits off. Second life repairs that have been completed out of that 400 is 193. So we've completed 193 wetsuits to sell in our shop. For batch repairs, since we just started that program, we've done 60 wetsuits for various surf shops in the area on the batch repair program. And since January, since we just have started the preliminary steps of warranty, we've done 7 wetsuits. I think we've done 10 now, but since April, we've done 7, which is great. We're starting off slow, and the brands are giving us certain suits to repair to start, and we're scaling that up as, our credibility grows with those companies. Um, What we see for the future is a couple things, and we're really trying to aim high for this program. Obviously, a national warranty repair hub for all of the surf industry in Canada would be our goal. So we're about one third the way there with the brands that we do have, but we're hoping to sequester all of the companies in Canada to create a one-stop shop for warranty. This would just be the most sustainable way for all the brands to go about their warranty. It just takes time, and as our credibility grows, as the knowledge of our program grows, I think that'll be definitely achievable in 2026, 2027. Obviously, a full Canadian landfill diversion ban on neoprene and EPS is a goal. One of our coworkers, Lily Woodbury, just wrote a letter regarding a request for a ban, which is very exciting. And that would mean that all wetsuits, no matter what, would be able to get diverted right to our facility here in Ucluelet. One that we are working on also is a voluntary fee model for the brands. So what that means is establishing an EPR, which is an extended producer responsibility. And for those of you that don't know what EPR is, it's an approach where producers and manufacturers are financially responsible for their products at end of life. So what we'd have to do here, actually, one sec. Someone just popped in. I'm at the shop right now. Sorry, guys. You got it, Adam? All right. Thanks, buddy. Uh, So for EPR, for those of you that you don't know, it's an approach where producers, manufacturers are financially responsible for the products at end of life. And what that means is if ReSurf is to sequester the material for recycling, we would hope that there is a financial benefit that we do get money for the recycling of these products. So that is something that we'll probably have to lobby within BC over the next year or two. And right now, we are achieving that by doing a lot of data collection and showing our diversion rates and the collection rates across BC. So that'll be more of a slow moving approach that we're trying to get towards. Also, and the most important for us also is to create a scalable model for other outdoor industries to sort of model and be inspired by, because like Core is doing, it's important for us to have these pathways and abilities to get your gear repaired. And I see a lot of new businesses being created and established that are doing just that, or programs, I should say, not businesses. But we're here to show that it is possible, and we are learning, as I'm sure Core is as well. And we're very excited to continue growing as the program develops and go from there. That's sort of all I had, and I'm hoping that there are some questions so we can definitely fill this hour the best we can. But that's my presentation on ReSurf.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And I don't want to, announce news before it's ready to be announced, but I am privy to the fact that ReSurf and Core have been in conversation and that Core is interested in becoming a collection partner. Are you able to speak about that a little bit? And do you have any other collection partners in the interior?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, but it sounds like once we head up to Kamloops for that event that we're doing that we can speak on, I think we can bring up the signage to get Core to be the first collection location up there. So it'd be the ability to have wetsuit diversion up on that section of BC as well. So definitely, I'd say in the next few weeks we probably will finalize that and have the the collection location up in that area to be for Core. So,
Awesome.
so I'm sure we're going to divert a lot of neoprene from that section, which is very exciting for us.
Well, and tell us about what is going down in Kamloops in a couple weeks.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're going to head up to Kamloops with our new mobile resurf repair trailer. I would show you, but it's outside and there's not great Wi-Fi out there. But we have a 17-foot trailer that we're able to hop on the back of my truck, drive it up to Kamloops, and we're going to have a technician and myself repairing wetsuits for the duration of the um, ORC BC conference. I think that's how you pronounce it, ORC BC.
Yeah, that's the Outdoor Recreation Council for BC that's doing their annual conference there, correct?
Yes, and we'll be up with the rehab trailer next to the core trailer and do some repairs alongside you guys. So we're very excited to be or have the privilege of joining you guys up there with your new mobile trailer as well.
It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
So,
that'll be great.
For people on the webinar who do have questions, you should see across the bottom, there's the opportunity to raise your Zoom hand. So if you click that button, I see that, and then I can basically unmute you to speak if you're wondering how you ask a question in this new format. Otherwise, we also have the ability to type it in through a Q&A, and I see that question. So definitely happy to open up to the floor with any questions. And if while people are, looks like somebody just typed one in. Vince, one of Core's communication gurus, did mention that Ucluelet is off the beaten track, as are the Kootenays. One of the big challenges for us is shipping. How does ReSurf navigate shipping challenges considering you're on an island and in a remote corner of that island?
It's definitely tricky. A lot of it does fall on our volunteers or myself for collection, but we're driving around so much to do different events and do different partnership meetups that we're able to tie in the collection. So, for example, with South Island, we have three locations, and they only really fill up probably every 3 months. So we're able to sort of either get the South Island Surfrider chapter to go pick up that material and keep it at like the chapter headquarters, or I'll make my way up for a conference and pick it up on my way and come back. It's not like we have to pick it up weekly. We're able to wait a couple months for them to fill up because they are quite large garbage bins that we give these locations. For Mech, for example, the benefit of having mech as they're off the island is they are able to ship their wetsuits from Vancouver to their store in Nanaimo whenever it's full. So all I have to do is go to Nanaimo to pick them up. But it's definitely a, a proper full day of driving when I do the pickups about once every month and a half, 2 months. And yeah, it's definitely one of those things you have to do, but it is a lot of work.
This is totally off topic from that, but I was definitely wondering, I think I saw something on your website or maybe in your guys' socials about how some of your technicians are being trained, or are you guys directly training with manufacturers and brands, for example? Are you self-trained? How's that working?
Yeah, yeah. I won't say the brands that we train with because we still aren't signed on with them, but we have had the opportunity of sending some of our technicians down to get trained at surf industry manufacturing facilities to gather more understanding on certain repairs. A lot of the a lot of the skills that our technicians have is based on either just R&D, experimentation. The techs that we have hired on at ReSurf are from various diverse backgrounds and very long sewing experience. Like, for example, one of our technicians, Adam, he used to work on the floor for our Terex back in the early 2000s. And Lou, one of our technicians, she has a lot of experience in the sailing industry and working with heavy sailcloth. So a lot of that has been a backbone of our training and growth is just learning, experimenting, and having the luck of having people that work for us that are very um, experimental with this material. And yeah, it comes down to a lot of research and development. And it took a lot of months. It took probably 6, 7 months for us to get prepared to start taking on repairs officially when we opened in May of last year.
We've got a question from Kevin, it's Cora's executive director. He wants to know for the wetsuit drop off, is this for recycling or repair back to the customer?
For recycling.
For the wetsuit drop offs, is that to be recycled or is that repair you guys are doing back to the customer?
For wetsuit drop-offs, it would be for wetsuit recycling. So if you have a damaged wetsuit, you can drop it off at any of our locations. So if it was with Core, a customer would come and drop off an old wetsuit, and then Core would either find a way to get it down to Vancouver, or we would come up and pick it up. In terms of repairs, if it's a repair that you need to mail in, all you'd have to do is go onto ReSurf's website. There is a repair forum. You'd have to send the forum to our technician's email. They will approve it because you have to include some photos, description. They give you a breakdown on repair time, cost, and timeline, and then they would give you the instructions to mail it to us. So that would be the only way that you'd need to, if you want to get your suit repaired, that's how you'd get it to us, is through the mailing system.
It seems like the public interest and uptake in your program is really strong. Um, it seems like people are ready and willing, to repair, to reuse. It just seems like maybe a lot of the infrastructure isn't in place yet. Just curious how you would react to that comment.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the brands, for example, with warranty that we started with, we had to create our pathways and our structure to establish this warranty partnership because there wasn't any. A lot of brands that we are working with or have worked with, there wasn't even a warranty program. They would just replace the suit, which is great for the customer, but it's not great for the environment, right? So we have had to establish these primary research and development systems where, um, yeah, we create the opportunity, and then the brand uses us for that service. Um, I guess to wrap up that question, there wasn't infrastructure in place that we were able to copy or innovate from. We had to start from scratch for a lot of these processes. Yeah, which is exciting for us because it's kind of like we're all working for a science experiment. You know what I mean? We're all figuring it out and learning, and especially with the recycling division of all this, we are finding these really cool opportunities to create samples and processes to recycle and break down and blend and mold like neoprene. And we haven't really found a lot of companies or programs or people that are doing anything like this. So we're sort of vanguarding this approach in a way, which is exciting for us as well. It's always great to learn something new and then share it with the world.
It's super exciting. And I'm definitely, as a journalist, curious about the origin story. So, before you had your facility, was this just like a small group of friends out surfing, being like, we should do XYZ? What was the genesis?
It's a great question. Yeah, well, it started in 2024. Um, so I used to work, well, I do work for Surfrider Canada. Uh, Myself and my our past executive director, we were applying for a grant for the local chapter, the Tofino chapter, and we applied to we were going to apply to the Plastic Action Fund for a $2,500 shipping container to collect wetsuits because my experience was there was, like I said earlier, stockpiles of this material at all of these surf shops, and there was no solution. They were just getting thrown away, or they were getting put in garbage bags. So I thought it'd be an interesting development for us to create a collection network. And so that $2,000 grant application was brought back to us, and we thought internally we should really scale this up and apply for a little bit more to grow it nationally. So that's exactly what we did. We turned it into a application across Surfrider Canada, and we ended up getting what we asked for from the grant, and that sort of shifted into the focus of developing ReSurf, based on just the quantity and the issue with these waste items we saw on the West Coast. And that's sort of where it came from. And it was all, like I said earlier, all thanks to the Plastic Action Fund, who have been really, really helpful and really exciting. And yeah, they definitely got us to where we needed to be, that grant stream. So we're very grateful that we were chosen as one of the grantees. And now we're seeing all this material come to us. All the surf shops are so, it opens up so much space in the back of their shops for other things that they can store because now we can take all their waste. And I wonder if I can show you. This is about a month worth of neoprene. That's 3 super sacks full that we've
Oh,
collected. So if for the viewers that are watching, these are suits to get repaired. These are Second Life wetsuits in Q. This is our upcycle bins, so we do cut patches off those. And these are the wetsuits ready for the shredder. I'm a little behind on shredding.
wow.
Uh, and then these are the bits that are prepped for the shredder. So these are cut up and prepped. So there's no hardware, there's no material. And behind me is the queued wetsuits for repair. So there's a couple racks for the last 2 weeks or so.
Wow.
And Obviously, we have all of our repair storage here. So we have all of our branded material, hardware, and upcycled goods on this rack. And then we have our three machines here, or sorry, four machines here, and our fifth machines in our trailer. So yeah, it's definitely growing very quickly. And like I said earlier, we're really grateful to have gotten a space as big as this because in the moment we didn't really know how both successful the program would be and how big the program would be. So having a 2,500 square foot facility, now we're really growing into it, which is lucky for us. We can expand what we had because in the beginning we had so much space and now we're nearing needing more space. So it's nice that we have the space to grow into. There might be a situation where we put a second floor in here in a year or two. We'll see how it goes. But definitely a lot of rubber that comes through our doors. And then I forgot to show you, but the back corner of the room is where we collect our EPS to dry for us to take apart to split up for recycling as well.
And then for those of us who are looking for any excuse to go to the west coast of the island, do you guys have any events coming up or anniversary parties or tours of
Oh,
the facility?
we sure do. I'm glad you brought that up. We're having our first year anniversary party on May the 14th, which is a Thursday in about 2.5 weeks. And we're going to have a live band down here and some food and yeah, some great music. And we're going to show off our facility because we are in a mid of a construction right now. We're doing some renovations at the front of the building. It's a little messy, so I won't show right now, but we're going to be completing this new renovation with more signage about Surfrider Canada and the program, and we're going to present that to the public on the 14th. So if any of you are in the area, please come down and check out our event on the 14th.
Very cool. Any more questions for Daniel? Kevin's wondering, will ReSurf expand neoprene categories such as tri-suits and paddling gear? So triathlon wetsuits, I assume he's speaking about.
Yeah, we right now the only suit that we are sort of deterring from repairing are dive suits because the material is a little different. It's a bit thicker, but we have done a lot of repair and we do recycle a lot of like kayak suits or like jet ski suits. I don't really know, Kevin might know the name of these type of suits, but I'll show you an example. We get a lot of these, like body gloves. So
Hmm.
they're not wetsuits, but they are still neoprene based. So we do a lot of repairs and recycling of those as well. Probably up where core is, I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of those type of suits, which is totally fine. But yeah, we're very open and we have done a lot of those type of repairs too. It's just not as popular, of course.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. That was really interesting and really inspiring. And this concludes our core outdoor speaker series webinar for the month of April. We'll be back in May on May 28th. That's a Thursday, I believe. We'll be with Andrew Zoe. He's a packaging designer and structural engineer, award-winning, I might add, based in Vancouver. You can just stay checked into Core's social channels for information on registration for that, or better yet, sign up for the email newsletter on Core's website so you're always in the know. All right, until next time, thanks again.